Lakers odds aren't good without LeBron and Anthony Davis. Could return to play in 2 or 3 weeks. Lakers 5-8 when those two don't play. And Kyle Kuzma's second game back since sidelined with calf issues, not the farm animal. His leg. He doesn't have an injured pet calf at home. 14 points in the first half, 5 of 12 shooting. Kuzma rocking the suburbs, just like Jimmy Eat World did. He had 24 points. Schroeder. So Lakers up at the end of the third against the Hornets. Hornets were 20-21 when LaMelo Ball got hurt. People thought they might go south, but actually they're 7-4 without him, despite his Rookie of the Year type season. Devontae Graham. Graham's three will rattle in. So here come the Hornets. But the Lakers respond well late. We're under a minute. Lakers only by 1. And Alex Caruso. Yeah, dagger. Lakers just in front of Portland in the West. They're 5th.
The Lakers are without their 2 superstars, but could get them back just in the nick of time before the playoffs. AD could return in 2 weeks, LeBron in 3. Now let's see how the purple and gold are currently faring in the West. So since AD's injury, the Lakers have treaded water at 12-13. They are in 5th place at 33-20. The Jazz, Suns, Clips, Nuggets are all ahead of the defending champs. Max Kellerman, how will AD and LeBron's injuries impact the stretch run and the playoffs, sir?
Assuming they come back healthy, it's going to help them, I think, because of the added responsibilities that role players have. Look, Talen Horton-Tucker, who played well again, he's valued throughout the league. The reason the Lakers didn't make deadline deal was because in order to match salaries, other teams had to take back a lot of players they didn't want, and then what they really wanted was Talen Horton-Tucker, and the Lakers like, nah, it's good, we're going to keep him. So he's seen more kind of dimensions to his game. He's been able to display them and to work on them than he ordinarily would have to were LeBron and AD playing. And we've seen, obviously, Drummond, who's, you knew he could walk in on a team that needed offense and give you 20 and 10 or 20 and 15 even. And the role players just generally are able to show extra dimensions to their game. So if called upon in the moment of truth, they should be more comfortable doing that. I think that certainly helps the Lakers. And then there's the rest that LeBron is getting right now. Not to mention AD, but LeBron in particular. When does this man ever have an offseason? He's in the finals every year. So, while other players get to go on vacation, LeBron has more intensity. Every minute is not created equal. The minutes you play at the end of a long season in a high-pressured situation is going to be more taxing, more draining. And this man does that every year for a million years now. Now he gets a nice, long rest. And finally, Stephen A., I'll say, when you look at the standings in the West, even if the Lakers were the 10th seed, and they've been treading water, they've been just about 500 since LeBron went down, meaning no LeBron, no AD. They're winning just about as much as they're losing. But even if they're the 10 seed, you think they're going to lose a play-in game or tournament when they have LeBron and AD to the 9 or 8 seed in the West? No, that ain't going to happen. And then, now they have a tougher schedule. Well, they lose a home game in the playoffs if someone can take them 7 games. But you're going to have to beat a bunch of nasty teams to begin with. Who do you want first? Does it really matter? You got the Mavs, the Blazers, the Nuggets, Clippers, Suns, Jazz. They're all tough. You're going to have to play at least 2 of them, if not 3, to get out of the West. I think in the long run, provided they're healthy, this actually helps the Lakers.
Well, there's nothing to talk about provided they're healthy, because if they're healthy, they have 2 of the top 5 players on the planet in Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I am not concerned at all about LeBron James. And he is the one player in this league that, take as much time as you need. I have nothing to say. Considering the level of success that he continuously puts forth, plus his willingness to play, the fact that he shows up, that regular season games matter, and he doesn't like to miss games, and he has a proven history to validate that, I don't give a damn if LeBron is healthy and decides to take a month off. It means nothing to me. He's earned it, okay? I don't think anybody else in the league has earned that as much as him. Let me get that out the way. Anthony Davis, that's a different matter, because Anthony Davis's durability is the question mark here. Anthony Davis healthy, there's not much to worry about because we know how lethal he is. But the injury that he sustained and the way he grabbed his leg and how eerily similar it looked to Kevin Durant with his calf and what have you, that's what has me worried about Anthony Davis. They say he's going to come back. I'm almost of the mindset that I'll believe it when I see it. And not only that, remember, the word is out. They're going to get physical with him. And there are teams in the Western Conference in position to get physical with him, especially Denver. When you think about the pickup of Aaron Gordon, and obviously with the Joker, with Jamal Murray and Barton to be back this year. He is back, but I'm saying he wasn't in the bubble play last year. When you consider the weapons that they have available to them, Denver is going to be incredibly, incredibly formidable. We see Utah. We know that. The Phoenix Suns have arrived. They are here, and you're going to have to deal with them. And so I think that because of the road, it's going to require the health of Anthony Davis to be right there, to be relatively pristine. It can't be a situation where he's walking around at 60, 70% or whatever, and he's being a bit tentative. No, he's going to have to bring his
50,
A
60.
game in order for them to get out of the Western Conference. That's my concern. I'm not saying that he's going to be injured max and he can't play at all. My concern is that I think that he needs to be better than 75% in order for the Lakers to get out of the Western Conference. And that's my concern.
50, 60%, you're right. And you're right to be concerned because of the nature of the injury. The calf bone's connected to the Achilles bone, as we've found out, right? I'll say this, though. They didn't used to have Andre Drummond. And that man is like, whatever you want to think about a fit, whatever, he's better than an average starting center. He's a high-quality starting center, starting five. And before they had Drummond, you know, AD is best at the five on this team. Are we sure that's still the case? Because you talk about getting physical with him. But if he's playing the four, that might be less of a concern, especially the way AD was shooting it this season. And it's different. It's not just like you have a name brand at the five, but he's not really a starter anymore, right? Marc Gasol or someone like that. No, you got a guy who's a high-level starter in Drummond right now. You can legit play at the five, AD at the four. That might be your best team.
I want to say this real quick as an aside, guys. Marc Gasol, he was on the bench. He spoke about it, didn't say much about it, but obviously he was not happy that Andre Drummond arrived and essentially took his starting spot. I like Marc Gasol a lot. I really, really do.
How do you think the league should feel about Jeannie's comments on the Nets?
I think they should love it, particularly when we see how they loading up in Brooklyn. Jeannie Buss is saying, hold your horses. We're the reigning, defending NBA champions, and we think we're going to have something to say about all of that in the end. We just picked up Andre Drummond, who averages nearly 14 rebounds a game in his career. We expect to have Anthony Davis back. LeBron James, we have no doubt he will be back. And so when you consider the pieces that we have in place, we think we're going to have something to say about, who's standing in the end. And that's what she's saying, and that's the kind of mentality that you want champions to have. She's basically staking claim to the fact that she doesn't believe that the Lakers are going anywhere for the foreseeable future. And the lovely, incomparable Board of Governors for the Los Angeles Lakers has significant credibility when she says such things. And I sincerely hope that's going to be the case this season.
There's a level of what we used to say gangsterism in Jeannie Buss, just like her father. They are not sweating what you're doing. They get crewed up. Look, here's the thing about the Lakers and the Buss family. Dr. Jerry Buss, the late, great Dr. Jerry Buss, was by far the greatest owner in the history of American team sports. Please don't embarrass anybody else by comparing them to him. Trust me. Look at the resume. Jeannie Buss, a chip off the old block. And think how hard it is to be her that way because you're following an impossible act to follow. And yet, even though she upheld her father's basically dying wish, keep the family together, with the team, and kept her brother in the position running the team probably an extra year that she should have for 4 years instead of 3 years, she eventually said, okay, enough, we got to win. Took over the team, and since she's been calling the shots and put her basketball people in place, 3 years later, they won a championship. They won a championship in 3 years. And now they're looking to defend. And she knows if her squad is healthy, she's not looking for an unfair advantage against the Nets, right? Go ahead, let the Nets get crewed up. The Lakers are crewed up, and let the chips fall where they may. They're not sweating it. Love me some Jeannie Buss. How could you not, as a Lakers fan, how could you not love that attitude?
Right. As a competitor, how can you not love that attitude? We have to remember who Jeannie Buss has been around also and watch grow into one of the greatest players of all time, in my opinion, Kobe Bryant. She came out with the Mamba mentality. That's a Mamba mentality. Bring it on. We are the defending champs. I got arguably the best duo since Kobe and Shaq. And here's the thing, right? You got to love the competitive nature. And I look back in 2016 when the other super team was formed in down there in the Bay Area with the Golden State Warriors. The great Greg Popovich from the San Antonio Spurs, when asked about him at the beginning of the season, he said, I get it, right? Don't quote me on this. I may not have it all right, but I know he said something along the lines of, don't we understand how great of a team they are on paper, but who's going to beat them? That's the thing. Who's going to step up and try to beat them? And when you look at what happened to them when the Spurs and them met up in the Western Conference Finals, the San Antonio Spurs had them down 20 at halftime before Zaza Pachulia slid his big size 23s up under Kawhi Leonard's feet, who was tearing them up, by the way, 26 points in 23 minutes. So I love the competitive nature. I mean, it should bring out the best of every team. Who's going to beat them? Who's going to try to beat this Nets team that is stacking up right now? That's the spirit you want to have.
That's exactly what we need too, and we need to be reminded of that. We need to we need to be reminded of the importance of competition. I mean, see, this is what it is about basketball, man. It's like a team sport is a team sport. We get it, but it's like when a batter shows up, Max, to play baseball. When he shows up to the batter's box, it's about him against that pitch at that particular moment in time. One of the things that I hate and absolutely detest in the world of sports, I don't know if I hate anything more than the intention to walk. I don't know if I hate anything more, because that's you basically saying, you know what, I don't want to compete against you.
Well, it's your manager saying that.
Yeah, I know it's your manager, but guess what? The manager never told Randy Johnson that, wouldn't tell Roger Clemens that, wouldn't tell some of the great, one of Nolan Ryan and others that, no, you know what they would have done to them if a manager told them to intentionally walk somebody? No, we ain't going out like that. Let's get it on. And I'm saying you transfer that to basketball. And one of the things that I think is incredibly important to remind everybody, that's what we really, really want to see. You know, one of the reasons why I backed off, even though I called it when KD went to Golden State, the weakest move I'd ever seen by a superstar. The reason I backed off about that is because I never forget the first moments of that finals when he was finally in the finals for Golden State against LeBron in Cleveland. He scored the jump shot and then clapped his hands and spread his arms wide, defending against LeBron like, let's go. It was his way of saying, okay, here we go now.
Why? It's because his mom went at you.
I just said, no. I did apologize to Mama. Mama Durant. I mean, come on. I love Mama Durant now. I mean, I got a soft spot for that lady. But what I'm saying to you is that the point is, he was sitting there saying, let's go. It's me and you now. You had your crew. I got my crew. Now it's me and you. I'm just saying, we want to see that. It's important in the sport of basketball. That's how basketball became popular.
But the thing about the Lakers is, you're right, I'm with that attitude. The thing about being a Lakers fan, or in Jeannie's case, the owner of the team, is that when you're like, okay, let's go, right? You're coming at them with Shaq and Kobe, with Magic and Kareem, with LeBron and AD. You're not coming at them with, you know, you talk about Blake and LaMarcus Aldridge. You're not coming at them with CP3 and Blake, which was a great combination, but it's not enough. So Jeannie's saying, come on, we got 2 MVP players on the team. We got who we need. Let's go. That's the thing about the Lakers. They'll get their guys. They'll get guys, even if it's not, oh, this is unfair. Because back in the day, the Celtics were just as good as the Lakers now. Let's see it, right?
KP, Kendrick, before you say anything else, I will do have an open confession to make. When the Lakers are winning basketball games, the breeze in L.A., the palm trees, it just feels a little different. There's something a little extra special about L.A. when the Lakers are relevant. It's just
it should be.
It's just a little ambiance in the air. It just